Now, today's story is one of my absolute favourites. It's about Loki. I know another story about Loki, but to be fair, Loki's always the one that causes the trouble. Let's be honest. He's not known for being well behaved. So, today's story, it's about a secret that Loki kept from all the other gods. And this secret led to the gods having to come up with a cunning plan to save the day. But let's start at the beginning with Loki. Now, we all know Loki, don't we? What's Loki like? Yeah, he's sneaky, he's a trickster, he's a shape changer. I mean, he's already turned into an old woman and a horse, and he's always the one getting up to no good in Asgard. I don't know why they put up with him, quite frankly, and don't chuck him out. But did you know that Loki had a wife? Yeah, I was shocked too, and his wife's name was Sigyn. Now, can you imagine what being Loki's wife must be like? I bet she yelled at him a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And she's always having to say sorry for Loki, and she was always apologising for his naughty behaviour, and she was always having to get him out of trouble. Sounds about right, doesn't it? Now, Loki and his wife had a son, and his name was Narfi. And believe it or not, he didn't take after his dad. He was really well behaved, didn't get into any trouble, didn't cause any mischief. But Loki had a secret. Shh, come closer. Loki had a secret wife. Not only that, she was a giant named Angraboda. Now that's a scary name, isn't it? And she lived in Jotunheim. Now, even more of a secret, Loki and Angraboda had 3 children that they kept secret. The first one was a serpent, and his name was Jormungandr. You may have heard of him before. The second was a young girl who was half beautiful, pale skin and dark hair, and the other half was blue and scary. And the third was a little wolf cub, all cute and fluffy. Now, Loki managed to keep this a secret for a few years, but like all secrets, and are you listening, boys and girls? All secrets get found out, so don't be keeping secrets from your mummies and daddies. Odin found this secret out. Now, Odin went off to visit the Norns one day. If you don't know who the Norns are, they're 3 very wise women, and they live next to a magical well, and they have magical powers that allow them to sometimes see the future. And they said to Odin, "If you leave these children in Jotunheim, they will grow and become a danger to all in the 9 worlds." Uh-oh, said Odin, and he rushed back to Asgard, and he summoned all the other gods to a meeting to discuss Loki's secret. The gods all agreed they couldn't leave these monstrous children to become something dangerous. So Odin got a crack secret team of the strongest gods and sent them off to capture the children and bring them back to Asgard. Now, once the children were brought back, they were brought before Odin, and the gods one by one decided what to do with them. The first one they brought in was Jormungandr. Even though he was still small, he had really sharp teeth and evil eyes. And the serpent was thrown into the sea, where he sank to the bottom of the ocean, and that's where he lived. And each year that went by, he grew longer and longer and longer until he encircled the whole earth. He was so long, he went all the way round and back again, and he could bite his own tail. Next, they brought in the girl. Now, they decided even though she was half beautiful, there was something quite scary about her. So she was banished from Asgard and she was sent to live in Niflheim, the land of mist and ice. And she was given a job. Now, most people went to Valhalla, the warriors, didn't they? They would die in battle and go and live in Valhalla for the rest of the afterlife. But those who didn't go to Valhalla, so maybe those who passed away from sickness or old age, they would now go to live with Hel in Niflheim, and she would feed them and look after them until the end of time. Now, finally, they brought in the wolf cub. Oh, look at the fluffy little wolf cub. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. And they looked at this cub and he seemed no different to any other wolf. And they didn't think he was much of a threat. So they agreed they shall keep the wolf in Asgard, and this way they could keep an eye on him. But Fenrir grew, and he grew, and he grew, and he grew, and then he grew some more, to the point where he was taller than all of the gods. He grew so big, the only god that was brave enough to feed him was Tyr. Now, Tyr was the strongest of all the gods. Now, you may not have heard of him, but believe it or not, and don't tell Thor I said this, Tyr was the bravest of all the gods. He was the one that fed Fenrir. He was not scared of him at all. He still saw him as the cute, fluffy little pup. But Fenrir then grew so big, the gods were afraid of what he might do. So they decided the best thing they would do is to tie him up. That way he couldn't run round and cause any trouble. Now, the gods set to work creating a chain. A huge chain. And this chain had links as big as my fist. But they had to think, how could we get the chain on this wolf without getting bitten? I don't want to get bitten. So they decided to make it into a competition of strength. They went to visit Fenrir, and they said to him, "Mighty wolf, mighty Fenrir, strongest of us all, I need you to settle an argument, because as gods we can't agree." Odin said, "You see, Fenrir, I don't believe you're very strong, but the other gods say that you are. So to settle this argument, we have brought a mighty chain to help see who is right. The idea is, we'll tie up your paws, and if you can break it, then we agree you're the strongest. But," said Odin, "I don't believe you'll ever be able to break it." Fenrir puffed up his chest, really angry. "How dare you? I'll break this chain easily." And he put out his paws, and they bound his paws with the chain, and the gods stepped back, and they waited. Now, Fenrir, well, he was going to make light work of this, he decided. He flexed his muscles, and he stretched, and he stretched, and he stretched, and the chain burst, sending bits of metal everywhere. Oh, the gods had to duck. And he stood there, flexing his muscles and showing how strong he was. He said, "Odin, you were wrong. I am the strongest of all in Asgard." Odin was really shocked, but he hid it really well. And he quickly thought of a new plan. He said, "Fenrir, this was only the first test. That chain was so weak that even a child could break it. Tomorrow we'll return with a stronger chain, a much more fitting challenge for a wolf as strong as you." So the gods left and got to work creating a bigger, stronger chain with more links. The links this time were as big as my head. They were sure that this one would work. And the next day they returned to visit Fenrir. "Now, have you brought a better challenge today?" said the wolf. "Yes," said Odin, "and you will not be strong enough to break this one." So Fenrir arrogantly offered his paws, and they fastened the chain to his paws once more. The wolf cub flexed his muscles and stretched and stretched and stretched, and the chain burst again. This time huge bits of metal went everywhere, and the gods fell to the ground to avoid being hit. "Ha ha!" cried the wolf. "I am the strongest in all of Asgard." Ha! Odin quickly thought on his feet. "So, yes, that was okay, Fenrir, that was okay, but that chain was so weak, even a one-armed man could break it. We'll come back tomorrow with a third and final challenge and settle this for all." So the gods went back to Asgard and called a meeting. They were really worried. The wolf was stronger than they'd ever expected him to be, and the wise words of the Norns replayed in his head. "If you leave these children in Jotunheim, they will grow, and they'll become a danger to all in the 9 worlds." So the gods turned to the dwarves for help. Now, if you know anything about the dwarves, they're master craftsmen. They could make anything. In fact, they had made Thor's mighty hammer and Odin's mighty spear. If anyone could make an unbreakable chain, it was them. Fingers crossed. So Odin went to visit the dwarves and he told them of the prophecy. Now, that kind of worked, but what always works with dwarves is if you give them lots of gold. So they agreed and they worked through the night making a special chain. And in the morning, Odin was presented with a silky ribbon that glowed and shone in the sunlight. The gods looked a bit confused, but this was no ordinary ribbon. The dwarves explained it was made of 6 special, unusual things. Now, listen carefully, because these are all a bit weird. The first was the sound a cat makes when it moves. The second was a woman's beard. That one's funny. The third, the roots of a mountain. The fourth, the tendons of a bear. The fifth, the breath of a fish. And the last was a bird's spit. Yuck! The gods were confused. Now, these are really strange things to make a ribbon out of, but the dwarves explained again. This was a special kind of magic, and the ribbon was made out of things that don't exist. After all, a woman doesn't have a beard. Well, most. A mountain doesn't have any roots. And have you ever heard a cat make a noise when it moves? So the gods were reassured that this ribbon would work, and they returned to Asgard. So off they go to meet Fenrir. Now, what do you think? Do you think this ribbon's going to work? Let me know. So they presented the new challenge to Fenrir. But right away the wolf was suspicious. The ribbon looked far too simple and shiny, and he thought the gods were trying to trick him. "I don't trust you, Odin," Fenrir said. "I think there's magic here and you're trying to trick me. But I also don't want to be accused of being a coward. So, if I cannot break your strange ribbon, how do I know you'll let me go? So I have a deal for you, Odin. I will only allow you to tie my paws if one of you puts their hand in my mouth. That way, if I cannot break it, you will have to untie me, or I will bite the hand off." This was a bit of a problem, because the gods knew the wolf wouldn't be able to break this ribbon, so it meant that one of them would have to lose their hand. And quite honestly, would you want to lose your hand? No, neither did the gods. But Tyr stepped forwards, the bravest of the gods. Oh wait, I need to whisper that in case Thor's listening. The bravest of the gods. He stepped forward and offered to put his hand in Fenrir's mouth. He knew it had to be done, so he walked over and placed his hand inside the wolf's mouth. The gods then bound the wolf's paws with the magic ribbon and stepped back and waited. The wolf cub flexed his muscles and stretched and stretched and stretched, but the ribbon did not break. He tried flexing his legs, the muscles in his legs, but the ribbon did not break. He tried wriggling his paws as hard as he could, but the ribbon did not break. And he tried stretching his whole body, but the ribbon did not break. Fenrir let out a low, rumbling growl of anger that rippled through the ground like an earthquake, and with a bite, he bit off Tyr's hand. Fenrir had been caught, and the ribbon had worked. The gods then took Fenrir far, far away to an island and got a huge wooden post and hammered it deep into the ground. And they tied the other end of the ribbon to the post. Now Fenrir would be trapped and couldn't cause any trouble. But he began to growl and howl so loudly it could be heard through all the 9 realms. So the gods got the leftover ribbon and wrapped it round his mouth. And so now he lies, tied to a post, angry and growling on this island till this very day, waiting for his chance to escape and get his revenge. So the gods returned to Asgard. Their job was now done. Jormungandr was banished to the bottom of the ocean where he lives now. Hel was sent to live in Niflheim to look after the dead, and Fenrir was tied up and gagged on an island far away from the rest of the world. And that's where they will stay until the time of Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods, where the ultimate battle between good and evil will occur. But who will win? Who knows? Because Ragnarok is a story for another time. But that is the story of Loki's children. And that is your story for the day. So, let me know, did you enjoy the story? Did you think that Fenrir would win? Would you like to hear the story of Ragnarok? I have to warn you, it's quite scary. I will be back on Friday with another story of the gods, 2 o'clock as normal. It's going to be every Tuesday and Friday until this lockdown is lifted, but please feel free to send me messages if you've got a story you want to hear, or if you get any questions or comments, just let me know. But for now, it's time to say goodbye, and hopefully I will see you on Friday. Bye.